Hello, everyone. This is Bonnie and Greg Dixon here, and the Healthy Wealthy Campers. And Bonnie just returned from Anaheim, California, with the Share the Light conference, and there's a lot of really exciting, good stuff there. And what we're planning to do here is have a series of watch parties. This is really kind of the introduction to it, and um, and then we're going to do for tomorrow and also Sunday at 2 o'clock. We'll continue, and then we'll see how our schedule goes, and we'll try to do it. Probably have 5 or 6 of these, each one featuring a little bit that we got from the conference. And so, Bonnie, maybe you can just say what you had fun with at the concert.
I did. I started off in British Columbia and at planes, trains, automobiles, got down to Anaheim, California, and met up with some more brand partners. Irina Shahovsov was there. Peter Geyer was there. All of the peeps from the Dream Team, and also from so many people I've met over the years now. And the reason we wanted to do this watch party is it was a lot to take in for even myself. And I wanted to rewatch it, and I wanted to share it with you, because when you're at a conference like LifeWave does each year, 21 years now, you're given the future. They share the past, but they give us the future. And the future is now, and the future is amazing with this company. Just know that it started off just a few years ago at 20 million. It went up over to 600 million, and it's shot way past that. And why is that? Well, the products are working for people. And when you see in the next few, one of the things that David is working on and will be releasing it will gobsmack you. But for today, I thought it would be fun to share a little bit about what David's talking about for wellness, because that's where it's all started, right? With wellness. And what are some of the other things about a convention? You not only meet people of like mind, you feel the energy, which is, we're all about energy and light. You feel what it's like to have worked with this company. Some of the people towards the second day had been acknowledged for working with this company for over 20 years. And they could not say enough about David Schmidt and the company itself, of how well they are taken care of, just for sharing the light products that David Schmidt has invented. We also were treated to see a movie, which we were verboten to film any of it. It will be released hopefully soon, about David Schmidt and all he's done. It was a wonderful movie. And then what else did I think that what I got out of it the most was that this company is future thinking. Meanwhile, right now, still working with the very products that we all know and love, the LifeWave wearable wellness patches. So I'm going to hush up, and I thank you for all of you for being here today. I really appreciate that that you came and just check it out. Now, you can share this link with other people. And why would they want to do that? Well, when you're sign up, we will send you a replay of today, and then of future days. If you can't make it tomorrow or the next day, that's okay. Once you're registered, we'll continue to send out our links. And you don't have to watch it, but I think when you do, you'll get excited when you see some of the clips that we are taking from the conference. So with that, let's just share a clip of David Schmidt.
We'll see how this works here.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's many different views in the scientific community on limits of human lifespan. Dr. Sinclair is focused on this subject, and I'm happy to see that he believes that there are no limits of human lifespan, like many people in the anti-aging and age reversal community. But let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. Here's an article that's from Nature a well-respected journal, and looking at the evidence for human lifespan. And in this article, the author states, well, we might expect that humans might live to be a maximum of 115 years old. Overall, that's pretty good, I think, for most people, but let's look at it a little bit differently. One of the things that's interesting about this is we've had people live to be over 120 years old. Now, I don't think most people want to live to be 120 and necessarily look like this. No offense to this young lady here. So the key is we don't want to be 120 or 150 or 200 and look that way. Premise behind this is that you're reversing the biological age of the cell. So there's no difference in appearance between a 25 or 30-year-old and someone that's 120 or 150 years old. That's the goal to shoot for. Many other scientists in the age reversal community believe that there's no upper limit to human lifespan, and it's more statistically, what are your odds over time of avoiding accidents, avoiding serious health problems. But we know that information is always doubling very, very quickly now. So if we live another 10 years, the information, the technology that we'll have access to is many times greater than where we are today. So what's the most optimistic view on human lifespan in the conventional scientific community and beyond? In age reversal community, they say it's about 1,000 years or so, which interestingly lines up with the numbers that we see in the book of Genesis. So what does science tell us about what we can expect in our lifetime now? There's some articles, again, out in Nature, which suggest that given current technology, they obviously don't know about LifeWave, they would put human lifespan somewhere around 100 years or so, which I don't think makes sense at all, given the pace of development. So we look to nature. In our labs, we study biomimetics. So this means we want to look to natural living systems for answers. Why try to invent a new technology when nature already provides us with a guide? We simply have to study species that defy normal human aging and then see what we can learn and then apply those principles over to human beings. So let's take a quick review of some species that age in a different way than human beings, or they don't age at all. We'll start with the bowhead whale. Longest living mammal, up to about 200 years of age, and they have a slower metabolism than human beings, and they live in very cold waters, so this is a contributor to their very long lifespan. Now we can go way over to the other side, and we look at the glass sponges with lifespans of 10,000 to 15,000 years. King's holly in Tasmania, 43,600 years. There's a single colony of Mediterranean seagrass, over 100,000 years old. So there are plenty of examples that we can study. You say, well, this is a plant. We can look at the species of bat, brant bat. They should only live to be 2 or 3 years old because their metabolism is so rapid. And when the metabolism is faster, that means you're producing much more oxidative stress, and the oxidative stress damages healthy cells. But interestingly, we can study the bat, and what we find is that they've developed a mechanism. They've been created with these remarkable biochemical systems that adapt to their stress so they can fly. And they can live to be 30 years of age. So this would be the equivalent to 180 years in human beings. So this means now we have a biological model that we can look at and mimic and create new technology and apply it to human beings. So what are some of the things that we see in bats? Well, they have exceptional control over the length of the telomeres, meaning that their cells can continue to divide without the telomeres shrinking. So this is a key factor in longevity. In addition, they have a mechanism by which their cells repair DNA. Now, we already know about biochemistry and energy medicine that will do the same thing. For example, if you keep your glutathione levels elevated, I'm not making a medical claim about our patches, saying if you happen to use a method like taking an N-acetylcysteine supplement for elevating your glutathione, studies have shown that elevated glutathione in the cell will repair damage to the DNA before the cell divides. And there are other mechanisms as well. So efficient DNA repair. Control of inflammation. Inflammation damages healthy cells, can cause breaks in the DNA, and bats have developed a mechanism to do that. So a method for human beings is controlling stress. If you happen to have a product or technology that can control stress, then you might have a way to do this. I'm just saying. And then also, if we understand what is driving cancer, the standard definition, of course, is that a cancer-causing substance gets into the cell, mutates the stem cell, and then this replicates into a cancer cell. So again, bats have developed mechanisms for dealing with this. But what about human beings? Keep this moving along. Now, let's again go back to the Bible for a moment, and we want to look to see, is there any evidence for these fantastic ages that are in the Bible? And I would encourage you to do this yourself, and you can use any various AI program to make this easy. ChatGPT, Grok 4, whichever one you care to, but make it very easy. So first, you can get a list of all the names that are mentioned in the book of Genesis, along with their corresponding ages, and then this is the list that you'll get. And you'll notice, of course, immediately a trend to where the age starts at 930 with Adam and then goes down to 205. Now we'll plot this on a graph, and you see right away that we have an outlier there in the data with Enoch at 365 years old. Now what does the Bible tell us about Enoch? It tells us that he never died, that God took him. So we remove Enoch from the data, and now we smooth out this curve because it's an outlier. So the next outlier that we want to look at is Noah. And the reason is because that's the point at which ages in the Bible start to decline. And we know that's when the flood occurred. So Noah and then his son Shem. Noah was 600 years old when he entered the ark before the flood. Shem was 98 years old. So Noah lived to be a total of 950, Shem 600. That's very interesting. So we might say, were the conditions that people lived in on the earth different before the flood than after a flood that attribute to this change in lifespan? We might be able to form any number of different theories or hypotheses about this, but it's worth reflecting and thinking about. In any case, we take these ages and we spread them out over time, and we can now ask AI, is this decline in aging statistically significant? Are these just random data points, or is this a statistically significant decay curve? And it turns out that these aren't random numbers at all, that this is a biological decay curve, meaning that we can rely on these ages in the Bible as being true and factual. So we know people lived to be over 900 years old before the flood. Now we just have to figure out why. So the short version of this is that there's evidence that the ages in the book of Genesis are true and factual. So people have already lived to be over 900 years old. So we can, if that's the case, then we can look at how to create technology to duplicate this. And we can look at further evidence. So let's go back now and see what's in the current scientific literature. Is there any evidence that humans can be regenerated to a more youthful state? So you can do the research yourself, or you can ask AI, depending on how you want to do this. So as it turns out, there are many things that we can do today that have an influence on our lifespan. One of them is fasting and calorie restriction. This is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to help clear out zombie cells from the body, and it's also going to reduce the amount of oxidative and inflammatory stress that we experience. So calorie restriction and fasting are known to be methods that we can use to increase our health span and our lifespan. Exercise. Exercise is perhaps one of the most reliable ways of improving longevity. We know that most people, when they get to age 70, they experience sarcopenia, muscle wasting, and because they haven't committed to a life of exercise, that means now also their bone density is going to decrease and make them more susceptible to injury that they may not recover from. In addition, studies have shown that we can use very specific methods of cardiovascular training, which I'm going to teach you during the course of the next 2 days. 80 seconds of the correct type of cardio training per week is enough to cause regeneration in the human heart. And if there's anyone here that can't exercise for 80 seconds a week, I invite you to leave now. But please stay. Okay. Another method that's incredibly simple, this was discovered by Dr. Bruce Ames, on the combination of acetyl L-carnitine and alpha-lipoic acid. This combination, both in vitro and in human beings, has shown to boost mitochondrial function and in turn cause older cells to look and function like younger, healthier cells. Oxytocin, the hormone of love. We speak about this frequently at LifeWave, that if we can elevate our oxytocin levels, we can regenerate the muscle tissue in the body back to a younger, healthier state. Yeah. I'll go for that. So we simply adopt an attitude of love and kindness towards others. This has the benefit that we reduce stress on our system. And doesn't matter if you're 70, 80 years old and above, elevating oxytocin causes those older muscle cells to regenerate to younger, healthier cells. Copper peptide. Copper peptide will reset 1/3 of the human genome back to a younger, healthier state. So we very clearly have evidence that age reversal, again, is possible with a simple peptide. Carnosine. So supplementation with carnosine, or beta-alanine, which is the precursor to carnosine, in studies going back 20 years, has shown that this will help to protect the telomeres from degradation, and in experiments with mammals, with mice and rats, there have been 30 to 40% increases in human lifespan. In lifespan in mammals, in those rodents. So now we can see that we have multiple methods that we can employ on a daily basis that are very simple, that will have a practical impact on our age. Glutathione, consistently in human beings that live to be over the age of 100, one thing that they all have in common is their glutathione levels, and it's very understandable why. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It protects the cells from oxidative inflammatory stress and helps to repair damage to DNA. So for example, you go out in the sun, you get too much exposure to the sun, and you get breaks in the DNA. Glutathione will regenerate and repair the DNA before the cell divides, not passing that mutation on to a future cell. This is very well known in the literature. And restoring NAD. So a lot of the work that's being done today on age reversal is looking at precursors to NAD, such as NMN and NR, and even niacin. Just for regular basic vitamin B3, niacin is a precursor to NAD and can help support your NAD levels. We found in our studies with X2O that the X2O water will initiate increases in NAD levels. More on that later. So what can we take from all of this? Well, in the scientific community, some of the consensus is that human lifespan is limited to 120 years. But also, there are scientists that think that there is no upper limit to human lifespan, or maybe that will peak out around 1,000 years. There's species on this planet that defy normal aging, so we can use this information and we can use these species as a biological model for applying what we learn over to human beings. There's evidence that the ages in the Bible are true and factual. There's scientific evidence that it's possible to reverse the age of human cells. So, up next, we're going to talk about LifeWave and lifespan. But first, let's go to this video.
I simply define aging as the lifelong accumulation of damage in the body that is generated as side effects of the normal metabolic processes that keep us alive from one day to the next. The analogy with a car or an airplane or any other man-made machine is absolutely valid. They do damage to themselves in the course of their normal operation, and they're only set up to tolerate a certain amount of that damage. But, as you say, by sufficiently comprehensive preventative maintenance, we can keep a car going as long as we like, irrespective of how long it was designed to last. People cling to this completely fallacious idea that there is some kind of biologically meaningful difference between the diseases of aging on one side and aging itself on the other side. There is no such thing. Everything that predominantly goes wrong with people late in life and not early in life is part of aging, whether we call it a disease or not.
How does this play out? Like, what should people be ready for?
It's a very, very important question. And I believe that actually the next few years, the next 3 to 5 years, are going to be the critical ones, because that's the period during which this already increasing, burgeoning understanding of the imminence of these technologies is going to really take off and become general. Most people will realize that these therapies are probably coming soon, probably in time for them. And that's the point when they're going to make changes to their lives as a result of expecting to live a lot longer than they previously expected to live. We have to really urgently develop new products that will be ready to roll out when this change in people's expectations of how long they're going to live starts to happen. Because when it does start to happen, it's going to spread like wildfire.
Okay, so let's take a look at LifeWave and Lifespan and some of the things that you can be implementing to have an impact today on your overall quality of life. So
Okay, those last comments we had muted because we didn't want to be talked. Anyway, we're going to stop here because that seems to be a good place to stop, and we're going to continue again tomorrow when how this aging thing relates to LifeWave.
That's right. So each day we're going to give you a little bit more. So jump back, sign up, which you did today, all of you here, and we thank you. And if you're a friend of a friend, go back to the person who invited you and you can ask them more questions. And meanwhile, we're going to continue sharing from the conference. There is so much juicy information for you to know about yourself, your family, your friends that you're going to want to share as well. And so with that, tomorrow, David's going to talk about how LifeWave interacts with longevity. And we'll also be covering other things about the company, his future, projects, which you're going to want to know. And also how some people, I really found this fascinating. They were acknowledging, there was at least 5 or 6 people at the LifeWave conference on the second day for hanging out with David Schmidt for 20 years. And they have grown with him for 20 years. They couldn't say enough about this man and this company that they have worked and partnered with for 20 years. Now, a lot of companies, are going through a lot of stuff, but this company is at the top of its game. And so you'll want to know as much as you can about it. And even if this isn't for you, it may be for someone that you know. So I'm so excited to share this with you. And just know next year, the conference like this will be in Anaheim, California, about the second week of October. And you're going to want to be there because I know I will be. But meanwhile, we're going to give you all the juicy stuff from this current conference that just happened. So we'll see you tomorrow. And again, don't panic if you can't be there exactly at 2. You're going to get the recording, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you
and
tomorrow.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yeah, we're wearing our costumes right now.
My costume. Well, here it is. My costume. Boo.
Yes. Alrighty. Thank you.
Have a great day. Great evening.
We're masquerading as humans.
Yes, we are. Humans of light.